Okay, we are live. Hello and welcome everyone to this new format called Bits and Boxes, where Danilo, Christian, and I will be talking about some of our favorite features in CodeSandbox. We'll be hosting multiple episodes in this series. We'll bring on other colleagues throughout the series as well. We're going to showcase some projects. We're going to talk engineering. We're going to talk about CodeSandbox. We're going to talk about VMs and all that. So I'm really excited. I'm pumped for this kind of restart, if you want, of the streams. How are you guys feeling about it?
You said it. Pumped.
Yeah, couldn't be more excited.
Nice. Yeah, so just as a quick intro, maybe for each of us, maybe some people are seeing this for the first time. You want to say a few words about yourselves first, just before we start? Maybe Christian first.
Yeah, the old one. Yeah, I'm Christian. Been at CodeSandbox for over 4 years. So from the beginning, when we kind of became a company and started working on all this new stuff. Yeah, 40 years old on Saturday, 2 kids, live in Norway. Yeah, I guess that's it for me. What about you, Danilo?
Yeah, my name is Danilo. I am a product engineer at CodeSandbox. I've been 3 years here, and yeah, I'm mostly helping to build the new CD CodeSandbox experience. I've been helping to build the Sunpack, some integrations, and yeah, I'm Brazilian but live in Portugal, and yeah, I think that's it.
Nice. And I'm Alex. I'm based in Cluj, Romania. I'm also here for been at CodeSandbox for 3 years and some months. It's funny because we're kind of old school people now inside the company, right? Yeah. Also work as a product engineer, mostly on split between like editor and dashboard work in the past few months. But yeah, you can imagine in the past 3 years, all three of us worked on pretty much anything that was on the table. So yeah. All right, and yeah, welcome everyone who is joining this live or who is watching the recording later. For those that are in the live chat, you can write questions to us there, and we'll try to answer. Or you can just say hi, where you're coming from, and let us know how much you love the CodeSandbox product. Or give us feedback. It's fine. We're happy to receive your comments as well. Okay, so we thought about starting it with basically what it means to, like, how we see the flow of like just showcasing how easy it is, if you want to get your repositories in CodeSandbox. A lot of the times, people are still kind of associating CodeSandbox with like sandboxes and with prototyping and with doing something quick and dirty. But we actually at CodeSandbox have been using CodeSandbox to build CodeSandbox, and we've been through this all a little in the past. We've been using it a lot in the past. I think more than 2 years now, right? We haven't really, especially for front-end projects, we haven't really used local development since I think more than 6 months now. Like the backend team has also started using CodeSandbox for the Elixir project. So it's now kind of we feel that the product is at the maturity that we really wanted it to be when we started 2.5 years ago, really building this new editor. So we want to showcase how, first of all, in this episode, we want to showcase how easy it is to start something, to try out with a repository. We haven't picked a repository that's like a super complicated one, but we have picked one that has a bit of everything in it, so that it's kind of like a demo for the demo purpose. And throughout the series, we're going to bring on new repositories and just show you how we use it internally, bring some of our real projects in the mix, And yeah, I think we can start sharing here.
Yeah.
So we have everyone that will sign in and will create an account. Will have a workspace. We have named our workspace Bits and Boxes, and you can easily go to your workspace once it's created, and you can add your collaborators here. So you can see I added Christian and Danilo. So we're the three of us are part of this new team in CodeSandbox. We aren't going to tackle a lot of collaboration in this episode, but just for the reference, it's super easy to add people there. Now, what we want to do is import a repository. So I'm going to just grab this demo repository, which is already public, by the way, so you can try it on your own as well and see how it works. So we're going to import it into this new workspace that we have. And the moment when you hit import, this already opens the editor. And the first time that the editor loads, of course, it takes a bit of time. It's actually the first time we are in this workspace, so we have the free plan thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Once we import your project, we'll see this project setup dev tool, which will guide us through how to get this project running. And the first step you see here is how to define your environment. Like what is the base Docker, for example? What is the feature language this environment needs to support? So for that, we use dev container, which stands for developer container, which is quite obvious. And this is a specification that allows developers to define the environment and what is the language, what is the feature you need there. So for this project, for example, we auto-detect that you are using a Node.js and a TypeScript, and but besides that, we can see we have a server folder where if you can go there, Alex, please, you can see, okay, this is a Python project. So, okay, besides the Node.js, we need the Python to run this. So if you go now for the dev tool, we want to add one more feature inside of our configuration. So go there, set up my own environment setup. So here it is, Node.js and TypeScript is defined as the base environment. And if you go down and click on Add Feature and select a feature, you will see a list of different things you can add on top of this base environment. So yeah, right there you can see we have Python. Once you click it, you see a bunch of configuration, which we will only use the default one because that's okay for us. And you click Save, and that's it. We have, for this image, we have Node.js, TypeScript, and Python. And then we can go next. This is the base environment is defined for this project.
And then if you already had a dev container file in your project, we would just use that.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Cool. In this next
and
step,
also I wanted to mention that keep in mind that this is something that you would do once, right? Like this, what we're doing now is we're setting up things, and we wanted to show things. That's why we started with a fresh repo, with a fresh workspace, with everything, because we wanted to show how the initial experience is, and keep in mind that like the experience of everyone else following that first person that configures this will be much smoother. And we're actually going to see that towards the end of the episode. So
yeah, and most
well
like front-end type of projects, they would just hit next, like the default with Node and TypeScript, and that's the most common thing for a front-end project. Yeah.
Well
also, if you start from any of our templates that we have on the like DevBox templates, and you just create a repository from a DevBox template, we can actually also showcase that maybe towards the end if we have time. some of those templates already have the dev containers set up
Yeah.
and everything. They are already built for CodeSandbox.
Cool. So in this step now, we will define are the tasks to run in order to, for example, install dependencies, and what do you need to run to get to running the server. So we auto-detect again. Okay, this is use pnpm for install dependencies. So we auto-detect this first command. But for example, we need to add one more command to install the Python dependencies too. So yeah, we can find this data, for example, in this README file and copy and paste there. Cool. And for example, in the develop mode, we can have more than one server running at the same time. So the pnpm dev, again, we auto-detected that to run the Next.js. And the next one, we also wanted to run the Python server. So we can copy paste the Python server too.
Yeah, or this one here. Yeah,
this one.
This is really cool, because it shows how, I mean, it doesn't show yet. It will show once this runs, that it's super easy to run multiple things, right? You don't have to have like a very simple project that runs not only simple projects or simple configurations run in CodeSandbox, but you can also pretty much do anything on the VM that you would do locally, like run multiple dev servers on multiple ports, connect between them. You can imagine any mono repo would be very easy to set up with a bunch of different tasks. And we actually work like that. Again, some of our repositories are mono repos, and they run multiple apps or multiple dev servers at the same time.
Yeah, I like to think this as a CI job. For example, the setup task, they are sequential. It's just the very same thing for a CI job. You say what you need to run each step in order to get your job done. And the development task, it's totally different. It's what we run when the setup task is done, and what you need to get it running to see your project running and start collaborating, start making changes.
Yeah.
So yeah.
To make a parallel, I would say with local development, when you get someone to just set up this project, you would just pass them the repo and say, just read the README file and run all of these things on your local machine.
Yeah.
So what we're doing now is we're configuring the project in CodeSandbox to do that. But then everyone else that will follow this configuration will not have to worry about having to remember which tasks to run to either install the fresh dependencies or run the Python server when you only remember how to run the client server here.
Yep.
Yeah. Also worth mentioning is like tasks also are deeper in configuration. Like you can automatically restart them based on file changes and such. While here you just define how to execute them. Yeah.
Cool. Can go next. And yeah, for some projects you need to set some environment variables. Here we have just a couple of examples, but you have to get the project properly running to connect to any external service. You can right here define your environment variables, and this is just a couple of examples to get through this demo.
I think this is one of my favorite. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, go on. I want to say you can define here like your API keys, for example, which is really handy. Right? Any new integration that would require something like to be stored in the environment.
Yeah, and like npm tokens. Like I think this is one of my favorite like experiences being on a CDE, and in terms of environments, it's just everything is there. All the secrets.
Yeah.
You don't need to ask people and like copy and create your own tokens, and it's like everything is just shared and it just works there, which is really great. Like every time I've been like local because I need to work on the VS Code extension, for example, I can't install the dependencies because something has changed in some environment variable, and it's so annoying. Yeah.
Last week actually, I tried something, and my like SHA token was like expired from 2022 in GitHub, so I haven't used it on my work laptop since 2022. And I was like, oh god, how do you do this? Like, I completely forgot like stuff about like this, pesky annoyances about having to run something and having to keep your environment up to date, having to install newer versions of Node, newer versions of npm or pnpm or whatever you're using.
Yeah.
It's it's a big change. Okay, let's go next. We are going to talk probably about the GitHub app more in the next episode, because we want to showcase some of the patterns for collaboration. But in the same setup flow here, you can install the app. The app will give you will put comments on all your PRs with quick links to open the same branch in the editor, to open the preview directly if you want to test. And it will also give you a bunch of other cool features like real-time data for all the PR information, reviewers, and so on. But we're going to tackle those, of course, in the next episode. We can actually skip this. So it's not mandatory for you to have the app installed for running the repository. However, it is a great improvement once you get it running. Next. Yeah, go on, Danilo.
And here you can customize your preference. You can customize your experience inside CodeSandbox. For example, we have a few AI integrations which we recommend to use if you want to have I don't know, suggestions, a code suggestion while typing. And one important thing, we have the protect branch. I don't know if someone wanted to talk more about this specifically, but we usually recommend to toggle this on, because then when people join the main branch, they won't create changes by mistake. And every time we start typing in a main branch, we will create a new branch for you, and you can keep your changes in a different branch, and then avoid committing from making changes in the main branch by mistake.
Yeah, it's like the main branch is more than just the code. It's the actual VM that everyone starts from. When they create a new branch, it's the default branch VM they are actually having a continuation on their new VM. So having that protected is a benefit.
Yep.
It also, like, related to the GitHub app, it allows us to automatically like just pull in changes from remote when anything happens and reinstall the dependencies. So it's always like a fresh starting point for the team when they go to the main branch.
Yeah, and I think a lot of projects will actually have this protection already from GitHub, and in a way, it's also like a good practice of engineering, right? You don't want people to just commit randomly on the main branch. So we usually recommend turning this on. And when this is on, you actually always see this protected badge at the top, which signals that, okay, I cannot edit code in this branch. I can only look at it. I can only run it. I can run the server, run everything, but I don't make changes on this branch itself. Should we go next then?
Mm-hmm. Cool. And here we have this nice summary, like a checklist, and what we configured and pre-configured. And then now we are ready to apply these changes. So when do you click on this button, apply the restart, we will do a couple of things. First, we will create a branch for you, because again, the main branch is protected. And in this new branch, we will create the files, for example, test JSON, where we just defined the tasks to run, the dev container file, which is the base, which is the specification to the base environment, and what else? Oh, we defined the environment variables for you in this new VM. So everything is there to review, and once we are okay with that, you can create a PR from these changes.
Yeah, you can easily see that in this task JSON file. For example, everything that we configured at the previous step is available here. So one thing which I also like, and maybe we haven't tackled yet, is you can give some nice names to these tasks. So people will later come in, and when you want to run a specific task here, by default this will show probably the command that you're running, but you can also give them some nice names if you want. If you have certain names internally that you say to people, just run this task if you need something like a regenerating of GraphQL types, for example. We have that very common, or just running some type check or linked tasks and so on.
Yeah, also, maybe it's not obvious here, but when we branched out now, we actually moved to a completely new VM.
Yeah, it is.
Which is really, really cool, that we were able to make it such a seamless experience, to the point that you don't really understand that it's happening. So if we were to, I'm not saying we should do this now, but if you were to move back to the main branch, we would actually move back to that other VM, which doesn't have anything of this set up yet.
And
so the nice thing is that while setup is running here, because now we have to, the VM has to pretty much run everything, install everything related to the dev container, then it will install the dependencies that we have in the project, and then it will run that custom server Python install task. You see it here to go. It's a sequential thing. But while this runs, you can still edit code, right? You can open, at least you can navigate through the code, and you can also edit anything. I think it's done running. So now it should start the server. There we go.
And that's the thing. First, it will open the Python server, and later it will open the Next.js app server. So you can see now you have two servers running at the same time and talking to each other.
You can also, I think this was because of the restart, this was killed, but you can always bring new terminals here if you need to run something in the terminal. And again, you have the tasks that you have in the task JSON file configured here.
Also worth mentioning is the banner at the bottom of the preview that indicates, because we know what ports are opening from which tasks. So we can ask you if you want to consider this a primary port for this task. And this also helps us related to when we create PRs and we create links for you to get easily into the previews and so on. We have the information we need to make that as accessible as possible.
Yeah. And once you get kind of more familiar with this, you will see that actually the tasks JSON file is very easy to modify. We have the UI usually on top of it, and we have these actions that allow you to make changes. But you can very easily figure out that, for example, there's a run at start task here, which you have even autocomplete on it because of the language server, and it knows that this is like a true or false value that you can set in the JSON file. So it's very easy to just. I know I usually do this when I see there's a certain task that I run in the terminal constantly. I usually create a task for it, so then it becomes more easily accessible just with a single click here than having to always open the terminal, change directory to the directory where I need to run that thing, and then run that thing, and then it's super convenient this way with the support for the task running. okay, we should maybe give this branch a relevant name. When we create a branch for you, it's usually like in a draft name, like it's just a randomly generated name. What you can always do is double click on the branch name, and you can give it a name like, let's say this is a setup CSV branch for this repository. And what we can do now is go to the Git panel here in the sidebar, and we see that we have a bunch of files that were generated by the setup. So what we can do now is commit those, say setting up CodeSandbox as a commit message, and it just commits and pushes on in the on the remote GitHub server. Now, when you install the app, and again, the GitHub app will give you some nice features. The GitHub app mostly will kind of unlock this pull request tab, which we'll tackle next time. So for now, in order to actually see this PR or to create the PR, we're going to go on GitHub. Going to create the PR. I don't need to do too many other things here. Let's just add.
It's a demo, Alex. It's a demo.
Yeah, it's a demo. But we do have code. We do push for code reviews here. So
this gives us a chance to talk about our compliance, though. We have very strict rules on how we review code and merge code, and because we're compliant.
I think if you say the word compliance in this video, like people are gonna.
You can't say compliance with that hat, Alex.
Yeah, actually, I do need an approval because our organization does not allow merging without a review. So there, I have it. Okay.
It looks good
merging.
to me.
Okay, and now going back to the editor, I wanted to show one other nice feature of the editor is that you can easily hop from one branch to another, and this is something that that's kind of like related a bit to the model of CodeSandbox, which is the one branch per VM. So the fact that I'm running this in CodeSandbox doesn't mean that I have my own VM in which I'm now on this chore setup CSV branch, and if I want to change to main, I do git checkout main. No, we don't do it this way. What we do is we have a change branch feature here, which opens all the other branches that we have on this repository, and I can easily go to the main branch from here or to some other draft branches that the repository already has. The same panel is available with the keyboard shortcut, which is very handy and very easy to remember. It is Command-Shift-B for branch, so you can easily change branches while you're in the editor. So now I can go to the main branch to show one last piece of magic that happens here. So I think this was actually too fast to see. Yeah, but the main branch actually automatically pulled the commit that we just merged a few minutes ago. This is because the main branch is always in sync, and we always try to be in sync with its remote version. So you don't have what happens, I would say, when you use the protected main branch is that you rarely actually open the main branch of a repository, right? The main branch is just there. It always keeps itself in sync with the remote.
An important point there, though, is the GitHub app, because the VMs, they do hibernate. So if you always want it to be completely in sync with GitHub, you will need a GitHub app, because then we wake it up.
Otherwise, you need to be on the branch for it to sync. Yeah, that's true. However, go on. Sorry.
I think now we can close the project setup too, because we already did it in the previous branch. And once you close, we will start to install all the dependencies again. But this is happening in the main branch, in the main VM. So this will only happen once. And I think we can extend this that every time now you branch out from this VM, you will get a snapshot of this one. So we'll you don't need to do this again. You don't need to install dependencies again. It's only it happens once.
Exactly. This is
Yeah.
literally now the starting point for any engineer who wants to create a branch. So that's how to think about this main branch. It's that it's the starting point for everyone. So as we see, the setup task is done. Everything is running exactly as we saw on the branch where we configured our environment. And this now represents the starting point for every engineer, the running environment for every engineer. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can see here, like you have when you're on the main branch, you can click create branch from the top bottom, from the from the top corner, and this one you will see that it instantly gives you. It's super fast. It's funny because it generated a name which is relevant in this case.
Yeah, the
So
person
it's
who made it this fast.
yeah, the person who made this is clever. And
For those who don't know, Yves is one of the founders of CodeSandbox, like one of the technical founders. And yeah, there will probably be more streams about the technology behind this as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, his name is Yves.
So even though it looks like the branch was just like, okay, it was a loading and then the same thing shows up, actually now I'm on a different branch, I'm on a different VM. I can start 3 of these, running in parallel with different changes, creating different PRs to GitHub, and anyone from the team can start from the main branch with a kind of like a fresh environment in 1 or 2 seconds, with everything configured, with all the dependencies installed. So you can imagine onboarding new people is a breeze. Onboarding new people in CodeSandbox and just onboarding new people in the organization as well.
Yeah, and if you need help with something, you have the URL at the top. You can just copy paste it to someone, and they'll actually join the exact same branch, VM, and experience as you are.
Yeah, let's do that. Actually, see what happens.
You want to click?
And
Danilo?
we're gonna dive here. Oh, here it is. Here's Danilo joining. We're gonna dive probably into collaboration, because this is kind of like a like a teaser, if you want, for the next episode, where we can talk more about how we use actually CodeSandbox to collaborate, not just like how collaboration works as a thing, but actually with the patterns that are changing in how engineers collaborate when you have such an environment where the VM can easily be shared between colleagues, where you can bring other roles from the organization and work on the same PR or on the same branch actually as you started. And yeah, it just opens a ton of possibilities there.
And maybe as a final note on that is, like, we haven't even pushed this branch remotely. It's literally your local branch in the cloud, kinda, which is also interesting.
Yeah, I think it's worth mentioning that the branches get pushed only when the first commit is done. So yeah, up until that point, everything is kind of in a way, your private work, right? As long as you don't share this with anyone, so you can experiment. You don't have to worry about kind of polluting the GitHub repo with like tons of branches from all the VMs that you experiment with. Okay, cool. I think we can close it for today. It's been quite a nice way of revisiting some of these features. I haven't seen a lot of these environment setups in the past, because all our projects are already set up, and you just don't think about it anymore. Like, and it's a weird feeling that you've contributed to them. You know that they're there. They will be like, first-time users will interact with them, but then other people will just take them for granted, which is a nice way of empowering the entire team to start working with a few clicks.
Yep.
Okay. Any last thoughts before we close it from anyone?
This was fun. The one
Yeah.
thing that's interesting is like it's so engaging for us, like working on all the details. I hope we don't overwhelm people with like these small details, but they are really important because they are the things that you kind of stop thinking about. Which is, it's not about what you start doing; it's what you stop doing when you move to
Yeah.
a CD, kind of.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah. Yeah, please give us your feedback and let us know if you want us to tackle specific features maybe that you already maybe already tested, Code Sandbox, and you're curious about something, or you don't know how to do some certain things. That we would love to make this more as useful as we can, for the community and for all the developers that are helping us push this forward. All right, then. Uh, enjoy your enjoy your time. Hope you can have the same smooth experience if you set up this project on your own, or you set up your own project. Also, feel free to share some of your public projects that you pushed into Code Sandbox. We'll be happy to look at what people are working at. All right. Bye, everyone. See you next
Bye.
time.
See you.